Asa Gail, he's making a handsome profit. What are the prospects going forward? And specifically, he's also looking at how it stands compared with its peers in the gas space.
So we are really liking this counter. There are 2-3 reasons behind it. First of all, their transmission and marketing volumes will definitely show a very strong growth. Secondly, the recent news which came in regarding the APM price. So I think that is also very, very helpful to this company in posting a good CAGR growth in their earning per share. In fact, it is positive for ONGC as well. So I think these are some of the factors that are really creating a strong interest in this counter. We are giving a buy recommendation on this counter at the current juncture also with an initial price target of around 195 to 200. But these are the small targets. Undoubtedly, in the medium term, these targets can be expanded till the level of 220. So I think one can remain invested in this counter. In fact, new buying can also be made at the level of around 180 to 180 zone.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Gail. Satyan from Kerala is asking the next question. He's holding 140 shares of LIC, bought at 719 per share in July 2022. Should he shift to some other counters like SBI Life since returns are not very good, is his question. Asta, I'll stick with you on this one. Two-part question. Do you think that he should shift to something like an SBI Life? And secondly, the new potential acquisition that we are talking about, do you think that is an accretive acquisition that LIC is going to make? Because that will take time to show overall in the top line for LIC and overall in terms of the stock performance as well. What's the outlook like?
Outlook is positive because in fact management is also very much optimistic regarding the growth in their power and non-power products. So first of all, that seems to be very strong to us, and I think there is no need to shift at this point of a time. It's better to stay invested in this counter with the initial price target of around 1,000 rupees. So that is 200 rupees up from here. Maybe 15-20% rise is what we are expecting in this counter. So we are positive on this counter due to the product mix, due to the growth, which the management is also very much optimistic about, and the acquisitions, etc. All in all, remain invested in this counter with a price target of 1,000 to 1,050.
Remain invested is the view coming in on LIC. Our next caller, Arun from Bengaluru, is calling in. Arun, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning, everyone. So my question is on the CDSL. I have 130 shares at a buy average price of 293.
Right.
So I'm sitting with almost 370% profit, 1,20,000.
Right.
So my question is on whether I should hold it or whether I have to accumulate more. I have a longer horizon period, like around 3 to 4 years.
Got it. 3 to 4 years is the time horizon. Asta, I'll have to come back to you again. CDSL is the counter. He's sitting on a profit of 1.2 lakh rupees. Do you think he should book some profits or should he continue to hold and add more?
No, I think it's better to remain invested in this counter. Don't add more at this point of a time. Maybe one can see some more lower levels of around 1100 or 1150. So there one can accumulate the counter. Now, why I'm saying accumulation? Because we believe that this counter can post very strong numbers going ahead, although the numbers which they have shown in the Q3 of FY25 are not encouraging. There was a weak transaction volume which we have seen in their financial numbers, and that is why we have seen the stock has taken one sort of a negative momentum. But going ahead, we are expecting EPS to expand, and in fact their margins are also we are expecting to expand maybe in the range of 60 to 60%. So our idea here is to stay invested in this counter and accumulate this counter, but not at the current point of a time. Maybe 1150 is the right level to make accumulation also. Price target can be set for this counter is around 1450 to 1500 in the long.
Something struck me in the questions that we've taken this morning, and I'm so glad to see that a lot of you who have had the gumption and the patience to hold for slightly longer duration of time have seen a recovery in the share price that you've of the shares that you've been holding, and I'm so glad that is taking place. If you recall, about 2 months back, we were getting a lot of callers, a lot of viewers that were facing quite a bit of pain in their portfolio. So this is good to see. Rajesh Maheshwari has got a relatively short-term question, and this is on Bajaj Finance. So Swati, on the charts, he's bought at an average price of 6,356. He is wondering whether to stay invested or book partial or full profit. Should he add more? He's looking at a short to medium term perspective. And indeed, Bajaj Finance has run up quite considerably in the recent past. So would you take some money off the table?
Alex, you rightly pointed out that from last 3 to 4 months, we are continuously witnessing a very strong momentum rally in this particular counter and giving a positive returns. Now, currently, the only point is that on the daily chart, the stock has just shown a sign of a negative divergence, which indicates that probably we are likely to hit some selling pressures on every rise that we are witnessing from last 2 to 3 days. I will suggest to book the partial profits at the current level. Currently, the counter is trading at 18,805 levels. So book your partial profit. Second partial, you can hold on by keeping a strict stop loss of 8,500 rupees on a downside, and hold your second partials for immediate target of 9,202, and beyond that level 9,500 can be seen. So overall setup is definitely positive, but since you're looking for a very short term period of time, I will suggest to book your partial profits.
Okay, book some partial profits, Rajesh. Hopefully that helps you out. The stock is under a little bit of pressure, down about 1.5% in trade today. Murli is our next caller and calling us from Bengaluru. Murli, very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Very good morning to you. And I have only one query on the subject on your screen.
Okay.
Before that, I have a general query. Can
Okay.
you just inform us? This is a A-rated, A plus rated NCDs of good companies are available at a rate of 10%.
Sir, can you repeat your question? You're talking about...
These A-rated NCD
Yes.
of good companies
Ah,
are available at an interest count of 10%.
okay.
Whereas, what shall be the investment expectation from the market this year, 24, 25, 26?
Okay, so on your A-rated paper, are you referring to a publicly issued non-convertible debenture?
Yeah, NCDs like SMC Global, Urgo Capital,
Okay, so
which are A-rated.
in the context of the credit rating on a bond, Murli, an A rating is of course the third rung of rating. It starts with AAA, which is usually the very large issuers, including the government, which is sovereign rating.
Yeah.
You have public sector utilities that are also AAA rated, and then the next rung is AA. The rung below that is A, and the one below that is BBB, which is investment grade. So this is maybe just one rung above investment grade, which is not to suggest that there is a credit risk involved, but there are reasons why the credit rating agency has pegged it at A. So there is an element, not a very large element, but there is an element of credit risk that you are taking, which is why you are getting a 10% value. So bear in mind that you have to study the fundamentals of this company when you venture out and get NCDs as well, because to a certain extent some have argued in the past that when you go and buy these NCDs or invest in these NCDs or bonds, you are taking some element of equity risk as well. So you need to know whether the risk that you are taking is comparable or is feasible when you compare it with the return. So specifically, what is your question on Ethos?
Yeah, I bought 484 shares at the rate of 2,598.
Okay.
I started initially as a short term with EST, but considering the fact that it's doing well, can I, right now I'm in a loss, maybe a short term, can I hold it for a year?
For a year, okay. So let me
Number two, number two,
Yes.
you didn't answer my other query, excuse me.
Yeah.
That what can be in the context of 10% return on NCD,
Yes.
which is short term 18 months,
Yeah.
what can be the return I can expect in equity market? Fair return. Instead of NCD, I'll go to market.
So-
equity.
So, Murli, there is no easy answer to that question, unfortunately. And if we had a way to predict, which is why you never compare a bond yield to an equity market, because equity depends on various factors that could be moving, whereas a bond yield is a factor of the coupon that you get from the company, right? It's like a fixed deposit.
Yeah.
So if a bank is giving you a fixed deposit at 7 to 8% or 7% or thereabouts, then you are guaranteed that you will get that interest every month or every year rather. Right?
Yes,
that is not true for the equity markets. However, a good...
I'm willing to take a slight higher risk.
Okay.
What can be the percentage?
Let me answer your question in the way that a lot of experts answer your question, which is that if you look at nominal GDP growth at 10% or thereabouts, and if you calculate equity and the companies that operate in India getting 2 percentage points more than that, then anywhere
Yeah.
between 10 and 12% is a fair ask. It's not a guarantee, it's a fair ask in the long term for equity. Does that
Very
answer
good.
your question?
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
Swati, on Ethos, we've gotten into a lot of not necessarily stock specific information, and well, this show is educational at the end of the day. Hopefully, this has helped our viewers. But Ethos, 2,598 rupees per share, 484 shares for a year. Does it make sense to hold?
Alex, you had correctly answered the question of Mr.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Great. Regarding the Ethos, the technical view is little bit cautious because this particular counter is not giving the breakout of 2650 levels on the closing basis. Multiple resistance has been formed on the daily and the weekly charts. Downside, as of now, 2400 is acting as a very crucial support levels. In fact, I can say in a simple language, it got stuck within the range of 200 points. Any move on either side or breakdown on either side will decide the clear trend of this particular counter. My view is little bit cautious to negative. I will suggest if you're getting any uprise or any uptick rally towards to 2600 or so level, sell on rise strategy should be applied. The overall setup on the technical front is not so positive. So sell on rise strategy should be applied in this particular counter.
So that's the view coming in on Ethos. We have our next caller, Sanjay, is calling in from Surat. Sanjay, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Yes, madam. Very good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
And my question for Vodafone Idea.
Okay.
I am holding 1,500 share at the rate of 11. My average cost is 11.
Okay.
So I know that there are so many negative news for this company, even though it's sustained 7 to 6 level.
Right.
And right now, some news that central government is also increase its stake in this company.
Right.
So my question is it right time to add more share for 12 to 15 months my time horizon?
Okay, 12 to 15 months is your time horizon. As I'll take this up with you, what he's talking about is that the government spectrum dues are now being converted into equity, and that is why the stock is locked in upper circuit as well today of 10%. What are your views with respect to everything that's happened? This is of course a positive for Indus Towers as well. What's your view with respect to Vodafone Idea? Should he add more, because he's already bought it at elevated levels, that's at 11 rupees. So what should he do next?
So I don't think so that one can add more at these. At this point of time where we have already seen the stock clocking in the upper circuit. So idea here is to stay invested in this counter till the level of 10 rupees because this is what right now the government is agreeing on the price. So we are expecting at least price to move till those levels. So those are the levels where one can again review the query. This is what I believe. So right now, don't add more because we already know what is the financial status of the company. So regarding that and other factors which we look after any telecom company like ARPUs, etc., number of subscriber additions, etc., that are also not very much attractive for this counter. So or the only news, today's news is making this counter shine. So my idea here is to stay invested in the counter till the level of 10 rupees and again review the query, but don't add more at this point of time.
Add more is the view on Vodafone Idea, and indeed just a follow up to that, Asa, in case our viewers missed out on the morning show, we were discussing that Indus Tower might be a better play to benefit from any positive updates on Vodafone, because anything that is positive of course for Vodafone Idea is positive for Indus Tower because it has receivables. Would you invest in Indus Tower rather?
Yes, in that case, Indus Tower, if anyone wants to invest it, then definitely Indus Tower is looking much better rather than Vodafone. And here, our target, which we are setting for this counter, is at around 415 to 420 odd levels. So yes, Indus Towers is looking better option in any case anyone wants to invest in. And in fact, even I want to say that even Bharti Airtel is also looking good in the same sector. So these are two counters which one can look upon for making any fresh investment, but not hold up.
Okay, Sanjay, hopefully that answers your question. And do bear in mind, of course, Indus Tower, you have a yield play as well. But of course, as of the last close, not today's price, you had a 7 odd %, that would have diminished a little bit, so bear that in mind. FSL is the name of the counter. Firstsource is the name of the counter that we're talking about next, and we've got Pratish from Kanyakumari, who's bought 2,000 shares at a price of 110. He's wondering whether to hold for the long term. Any view here, Asta, and what would you say? He's seeing a considerable gain on the stock.
Yes, so idea here is to book some profit, maybe 25% of the quantity can be booked at this point of the time, because what we believe that the numbers will not be that strong going ahead. We have already seen in their past financial performance. So we are expecting this counter to be a muted one in the coming days. So better to book certain profit, maybe 25% or 50% of the quantity can be booked at this point.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Firstsource. But with that, it's time to slip into a short break, but we'll be right back. So stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
He sold most of his stock, 80%, as on that date.
We have requested the management to come and speak to us. They asked us, what questions will you ask? We've sent it to them. They don't want to answer it, so then let's put it to our viewers as well.
7 key questions, right? How is it that 2,000 crore goes unnoticed by all of these auditors?
Is seeking more information on the trades and the all the transaction which has happened from the exchanges, both NSE and BSE.
The Reserve Bank of India's supervisory officers, they are seeking compliance reports on their foreign currency borrowings by these banks.
The DSS is actively engaging with the Reserve Bank of India to sort of ensure the thorough examination of the matter. And
Indus Bank, as part of its internal review, had found that certain aspects of its derivatives portfolio was not meeting the standard that was set by the Reserve Bank of India.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, a show that gets all your stock related queries answered. If you're just tuning in, you can either call us or WhatsApp us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen. We have our next query from Ankit, who's asking that whether he should either go for HAL or BEL. He wants to add a defense stock to his portfolio and he wants to choose between the two. And he wants to know the right levels also to enter one of these. Swati, I'll come to you. Any of these looking attractive on charts right now?
See, the structure of both the counters are really almost the same. But if you look towards the price momentum, I believe BL looks good on the technical front. Currently the value is 301. Both the counters are just forming the flag pattern. It's on the verge of giving the breakout of the same level. So there is no major differences. Since you want to trade into the quantity, then BL looks good on the technical front. But the interesting fact that it's well placed above all the important moving averages, whatever we see, such as the 50, 100 and 200 DMA. But I will not suggest to buy at the current market momentums. Let the stock find out a support at 280. So buy on deep strategies will be applied in this particular stock. Any momentum towards 280 levels, one can take a fresh long positions. Upside, for a short-term period of target, 340, 380 levels can be seen very soon in the few months. So it's definitely buy on dips recommendation from my end.
Okay. While we were speaking, you've seen the markets slide to the low point of the day for the benchmark Nifty 50. You have cuts of about 1.2%. And a few of the contributors will make sense to you, right? Look at HDFC Bank, which is also, by the way, at the low point of the day, down about 2.6, 2.7% or so. Infi, ICICI Bank, Reliance Industries losing ground. But it's an interesting texture. And I say interesting because look at the broader markets, right? You have cuts of about 0.7% for the mid-cap index. The small-cap index also losing about 0.5% or thereabouts. But take a look at the market breadth. And if we can pull up the line graph of advance decline ratio, you still have more advances at this stage than declines. So what that tells you is that you have the larger weighted stocks in the market that are pulling the market down as a whole, as a result of which you're seeing the declines, but more stocks are actually gaining than losing at this point. And I guess to a certain extent, institutionally, people are taking a bit of a cautious stance ahead of a period of heightened uncertainty and volatility. By the way, I'm not surprised. I won't be surprised if the VIX is up. There you go. Let's pull up the VIX as well. I was just looking at on my screen. The VIX is up as much as 9% right now. This is a volatility index, of course, and it gives you a sense of the uncertainty and the volatility that is currently at play, not just in the Indian equity markets, but globally as well.
Interesting. And in fact, that gap is narrowing as well for the advanced decline ratio. That probably what Swati was also indicating earlier, that cautious stance is something that every trader or investor is taking right now. All right, moving on to our next caller, Veluswamy from Bengaluru is calling in. A very good morning to you, Veluswamy. I believe you have a query on HDFC Bank.
Yeah.
Hi, I can hear you, Veluswamy. Go ahead with the query.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
See, my query is about this HDFC Bank. Just now you were talking.
Right.
My basic price, average price. I am a long time investor.
Right.
So I just wanted to know whether I have to hold it on for further benefit or book a partial profit.
Got it. Got your query. Astha, I'll come to you. He's sitting on a profit of around 41,000 odd rupees. Should he partially book his profit? Stock is down 2.7% as we speak.
So idea here is if one has a longer time duration, maybe of around 6 months to 9 months, I think it's better to stay invested. But if the time horizon is shorter term, then definitely book some profit. In the longer term, we are expecting this counter to move to the level of 1952. 2000. Why? Because first of all, it has outperformed its peers in the banking space. One of the best asset quality, one of the very strongest NIMs which this bank is enjoying. So they have got a very strong financial ratios on. If I talk about their financial statements, yes, in this quarter we have seen some sort of slippages due to their agri interest, etc., and agri loans, etc. But I think going ahead, this bank will definitely show very strong performance on the financial front. In the longer term, one can remain invested, but if a time horizon is short term, then book 25% of the quantity. I mean, profit in the 25% of quantity.
And certainly he specified that it's a long term. By the way, if you don't count today's move downwards, HDFC Bank is perhaps the best performing Nifty 50 company over the course of the last financial year, 25% or thereabouts for the game. So it'll be 20% higher easily over the 1 year. There you go. So 21% despite today's fall from the top. I don't think that you have anything to worry about. Asta, very quick follow-up on the valuation metrics as well. One to look at, of course, is the price to book, which is on a trailing basis at 2.75 times. Is that still attractive? Would you add more at this point?
Yes, it is 2.7 times if I talk about the December adjusted book value. But in the FY26 or FY27, it is somewhere coming at around lower than those levels at around 2.1 or 1.9. So that is one of the case that is making it attractive for the longer term.
Yeah, point well made. So HDFC Bank should be kept on your radar and certainly in your portfolios. It's done quite well. Harish has got the next question and he's asking about KPI Green Energy, which he bought around December 2023, where he had about 375 shares at a price of 306 after the bonus adjustment. He's looking to hold till 2030. His main concern is no participation from domestic institutions and low analyst coverage, but he feels that the company prospects look bright. Asta, do you concur? Do you have it in coverage? And would you hold on to something like this or would you book profits?
Company prospects are definitely strong because what I can say is that in their annual performance of FY24, it was a rise of around 40% in their bottom line. So financial performance is definitely very, very strong, although less covered by most of the analyst community, but their results which they are continuously posting is very attractive. In fact, if I talk about the Q3 FY25 number, it's again more than 60% rise in the bottom line. So I think just because we are seeing that small cap and mid cap stocks are not getting that much fancy right now, so that can be one of the case why this stock is not getting so much of traction. But to remain invested in this counter, this is what I believe for the price target of 450.
All right, so that's the view coming in on KPI Green. Our next query was on Vardhman Textiles. Sachin is writing in, he's holding it at 396 per piece. And he's bought it last week only and he wants to know whether in 1 year will the stock double or not. Swati, is that something the charts are indicating?
The chart is not showing a very strong formations on the technical front on this particular counter. I will not suggest to hold for a longer term duration, but yes, definitely if the stock manages to give the breakout of 410, which is acting as a crucial resistance low. If it's break that level, then we can see some positive move in this particular stock, which might take a counter towards to 430 to 440 levels. But the overall structure is not so positive. I will suggest if you're getting any rise towards to 410, 420 levels, try to exit the long position and invest into some other quality counter.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Vardhman Textiles, and sell is the view that Swati has given. Our next caller, Karthik from Chennai, is calling in. Karthik, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning. I have 230 shares of Power Mech.
Okay.
Despite they are having a good order book and others, like the stock value is on a stagnant mode. So I just want to know about the future perspective of the shares, whether it's a good time to buy or accumulate or going for a sell.
Got it. And Karthik, you want to hold this from a longer term perspective, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Asta, I'll come to you. Power Mech has won 2 orders in the past 3 days where markets were closed. One was from NHAI of 972 odd crores and this second one was from Mirzapur Thermal Energy, which was around 425 crore. Overall, their order book addition stood at around 4,200 odd crores till December 25, and backlog order book is huge, which is at 57,900 odd crores. What's the view like for the counter? And Karthik, as he mentioned that the stock has not done much, do you think he should continue to hold the counter?
Yes, because it is one of the leading industrial services and the construction company, and they are providing all sort of services basically in the power sector, if I talk particularly about, and infrastructure as well. So now the sector is also, they have got a tailwind from the sector also, and yes, they are continuously receiving the order. They have got a very, very strong order book. So I think definitely this counter will prove its mettle in the coming days when we can see some sort of a rise in the mid cap or the small cap stocks also. So remain invested in this counter. No need to buy more at this point of a time because right now stock price momentum is low. So maybe this stock can show some more lower levels where one can make entry into this counter. Idea here is to hold this counter with a price target of around 2850 to 2900.
Okay. I know that we've already talked about Bajaj Finance, but there's a specific question from Parijat, and he wants to know about 10,000 levels and whether this is likely and how likely it is. It's not too far away, Swati. So assuming that there are no corporate actions that bring the price lower, from the chart's perspective, when is it, first of all, is it likely and when can it hit?
Yes, definitely. We can see that levels of 10,000 in this particular stock, but not very soon as such. It will take some more time. Probably at the end of the year, we might see if the markets do very well, then probably, yes, definitely. On the downside, probably it will touch the fate of 8,200, 8,000 levels, then we will witness some sort of a positive momentum. If it's manages to give the breakout of 9,400, which is acting as a very strong resistance, then very soon we will see the 10,000 levels within a span of a 1 month and so. But I believe that very slowly and steadily this counter will touch the fate of 10,000, but not at very soon. So stay invested in this particular stock.
Okay. All right. Mukid is calling us from Hyderabad with the next question. Hi, Mukid. Good morning to you. And how can we help you today?
Very good morning, everybody. My question is on Ion Exchange India. I have 50 shares at the price of 488. So can I accumulate more or sell or buy for medium to long term perspective?
How do you define medium to long term, Mukid?
3 to 5 years or more.
Okay, so that's a long term perspective. Asta, on the fundamentals, it is, isn't it a recent, not too long back, listing?
No, Ion Exchange
It's been there. It's been there. Okay, sorry, I have not tracked this, I must admit, but it is in fact in the process, or rather it's in the space of delivering solutions across water cycle, from pre-treatment to process water treatment as well as wastewater treatment. So there are few options in this space. Asta, would this be the pick? Would you hold on to this? He's already invested and he's bought at levels of 488 rupees. Should he hold on?
Yes, in fact, we at HIM Securities had a coverage on this counter in December, where we have given the price target of more than 500. So definitely I will give a hold to this counter. Now the reasons, first of all, they are working in the 3 divisions. Chemical is also one of the division. If I talk about engineering is another division. And in fact, the 3rd division is around the consumer segment. Yes, they are in the wastewater treatment and they're continuously receiving the orders. Their order book is very strong. In fact, even Adani has also given them a good order and they are continuously receiving the order from the other areas as well. So I think it is a very good counter in the water treatment space. We are positive on this space where we are liking Vatek Pawak also, but Ion Exchange is also looking good to us. And as I have mentioned earlier, we are giving the price target of more than 500 at this point of the time. So right now our price target is 550 to 600 for this counter. Remain invested in this counter.
Remain invested, and 550 to 600 is the target that Asta has given. All right, our next query is from Sankara Rao, who is from Amravati. He's holding EID Parry stocks, around 1,000 stocks, bought at 511 a piece, and he wants to know whether he should continue to hold or exit now and enter Balrampur Chini mills. Swati, what's the view like where charts are concerned for EID Parry? Should he exit and enter something like a Balrampur Chini mills?
I will not suggest to exit the long positions from the EID and enter into the Balrampur Chini, because EID Parry counter is really doing very well on the technical front. From the last 3-4 weeks, we are witnessing that the stock manages to take a very strong support of 660 levels and show a bounce back rally on the high side, and it continued to keep that strength intact. The interesting formation is that the counter has given the last 4-5 months trend lines breakout, which is also a very positive indication on the technical front. Price is moving along with the volume, so the decent volume is also coming up into this particular counter. So whenever such kind of a formations we witnessed into the technical front, definitely slowly and steadily the counter will give the rally on the northward directions. I believe that the stock has a very strong potential to reach up to 850 to 900 levels. So it's a hold from my end. If you want to add more this particular counter, if you are getting any dips towards to 721, can add on, because the risk reward ratio will be a very favorable at that period of time, and you can hold on your long position as long as this particular stocks hold 680 levels on the downside. For immediate target will be a first target will be a 850, and beyond that level 940 can be very soon.
Alright, so hold is the view coming in on EID Parry where charts are concerned. We have our next caller calling in from Kolkata. Somnath, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Very good morning. I am a regular viewer of you, and
thank you so much, Somnath. Thank you so much.
So my question is that that is you know that 35 shares of Tata Motors I bought for 1 year back. But the thing is that latest tariff and all that it has came down like 670 something like that from 701. So long term perspective, maybe the Tata Motors will bone the cost or how it will affect in market. So what should be my next move? That is my question.
Got your query, Somnath. I'll take this up with Asta. Asta, I'm sure we've asked this to you multiple times, but what's the view once again for Tata Motors?
So we have started seeing some sort of green shoots in their US business, especially if I'm talking about JLR. So I think Tata Motors, yes, we know that some sort of global news is always hangover on the counter. But in the longer term, we should see the company's fundamental also, which we are pretty much liking at this point of the time. And hence, I recommend to hold this counter. Since there's so much news which are flowing around, maybe it will take some more time to move in the northward direction. Sorry. So maybe one can hold it for a 1 year time horizon. And idea here is to stay invested. Initial price target is 800, which we are giving to this counter.
Initial price target on Tata Motors is 800. A lot of headwinds that the company is facing. Bear that in mind as well. Jaguar Land Rover, of course, sells to the US, and the latest bout of selling occurred because of those auto tariffs that were announced that will kick in just a couple of days. I believe, was it on the 3rd or the 4th? I'm not sure, of April, based on what Donald Trump has announced. The next question is also for you, Asta, and this is on Greaves Cotton. This is a question from Lavish, who's writing in from Indore, and he's got 700 shares at a price of 285. He's asking whether to hold for the long term. What would you do?
As for Greaves Cotton, we are recommending hold on this counter from the longer term point of view, because I think this counter has a potential to move at least till the levels of a cost price of around 270 or 80 odd levels, if I heard it correctly. So yes, one can remain invested in this counter till those levels.
Okay, I believe Anant is calling us from Bengaluru. Hi Anant, good morning to you, and how can we help you today?
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, NDTV team. I was holding Kajaria Ceramics at the rate 1,263.
You nearly gave me a heart attack.
Sorry. Yeah. Because the highest it went was around 1,500
yes.
And plus something like that.
Right.
So I'm holding it from almost 2 years. Okay. And the time when I bought from that time, I see it is not even, the results are also not that great.
Okay.
But over a period of 10 to 15 years, I see that it has done well. Okay, so now from 3-4 quarters, I've been seeing the results and it is not doing good. So I just wanted to know, should I hold it or should I book loss or should I average? Is it something can I hold it as a portfolio stock?
Yeah.
So
I got your question,
Anand,
and so let me, in fact, let me ask Asta this on the fundamentals. What you're saying is right on the earnings front, right? So the question is, if you're looking to play the building material space, which is of course what Kajaria Ceramics is in, and ultimately we're talking about a real estate boom. It hasn't really gone anywhere. The pre-sales numbers, it might have wobbled a little bit, but it's still a sunrise sector, some would say, right? There's a lot of demand that will continue to come through. So would you bet on Kajaria or would you buy something else in the building material space, Asta?
So I think Kajaria seems to be decent at this point of the time. Now why? First of all, I tell you, because it is one of the largest manufacturer of vitrified and the ceramic tiles. We all know that they have a very large manufacturing facility. Now their expansion plan seems to be very strong. First of all, 30 crore they have invested in the Morbi, where they will be purchasing land, and 15 crore in the Gail, Rajasthan, where they will be setting up some tile adhesive facilities. So I think these expansion plans are infusing some sort of optimism. Now, why the stock is not performing? Because results were not that great, because they are not getting good retail demand. Industry conditions are challenging right now. In fact, exports were also lower. So that are the main reasons that we have seen that this stock is not performing well. But I think in the longer term, due to the expansion plan which this company is doing right now, we are positive on this counter, remain invested in this counter. Price target can be set at around 950 to 1,000 odd levels, but in the long term.
Okay, remain invested from a longer term perspective is the view coming in on Kajaria Ceramics. Aniket from Karnataka is writing and he wants to invest in EIH hotels. He wants to know the best entry price from a longer term view. Swati, I'll come to you. Are the charts attractive enough right now to make an entry in EIH or wait?
Really, hotel industries are really doing very well. EIH, I will suggest wait for some period of time because we are continuously witnessing a low formations from the last 1 week, and we might find out a support nearby 330, 340 levels. Up to that level, the stock might witness some sort of a retracements. So I will suggest to take a buying position only dips towards to 340 to 330 level. From there onwards, we can see some positive momentums. But if you're looking for another hotel in stock as such, my positive view is on the ITC hotel. This particular counter is sitting at 204.5 levels, and it has given the very strong breakout. It's a new listing counters. I believe it has a very strong potential to reach up to 230 to 240 levels. So if you're looking for any new pack from the hotel industry, take a buy call on the ITC. Downside, it has formed a very crucial support nearby 190 levels. By maintaining that as a stop loss, you can buy at least 20-30% at the current market price. Any dips towards 200, you can add on for a target of 240 levels.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on EIH, and Swati is preferring ITC hotels right now over EIH is the view. All right, we have a next caller. Krishna is calling in from Chennai. Krishna, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Very good morning. I'm a big fan of NDTV Profit from the day it started.
Thank you so much, Krishna. Made our day.
And I'm just holding 1,100 shares of Shakti Sugars.
Okay.
And I'm a long time holder, bought at ₹14.
Okay.
I just want to know the prospect of sugar industry about this ethanol business and all that.
Got it. Got your query, Krishna. As I'll take this up with you. Shakti Sugars is the counter and he wants a view on the entire sugar space as well.
So first of all, if I talk about this counter, there was the reason that this counter has not performed well on bourses because of the weak financial performance. In the Q3 of FY25, they have posted in fact losses of around 2 crore if I'm not wrong with my numbers. So I think due to this weak financial performance, the stock was not able to perform so strongly. But my idea here is in the longer term, sugar sector seems to be strong to us, in which Balrampur Chini is looking good to me. So here one can remain invested but book partial profit. So partially hold the counter but book partial profit also because financial performance was not in line with the expectations, and so we are not very much optimistic on this counter. So idea here is to book partial profit and remain invested in partial quantity. Another stock in the sugar space which is looking good to us is Balrampur Chini.
Balrampur Chini, okay. Remember though that it is cyclical. So by the way, both of you, I want your opinion on this. Syncom Formulations. This is a stock that is currently trading at 16.8 rupees and it is a market capitalization of 1,581 crore rupees. We've got a viewer, Shrikant Velpula, who's writing in and he has bought 13 lakh shares at a price of 1.8 rupees. He's asking what the business prospects are, when it can hit 100 rupees. Obviously, you don't have an answer to that question, Asta, but I'm wondering if you have a view on Syncom Formulations. Apparently, it's a pharmaceuticals company that manufactures healthcare products and generics. I must confess that I don't know about this, but he's sitting on gains of nearly 2 crore. What should he do with this?
Yes, they manufacture pharmaceutical products, injectable drops, etc., and generic tablet capsules, etc. This is what, in fact, I can recall. And the financial performance was good, but due to the limited information about this counter, I cannot say more about this counter. But idea here is to remain invested since financial performance seems to be okay. 60% rise they have posted in their bottom line in the Q3 of FY25 numbers. So financial performance seems to be okay. Remain invested in this counter, wait for the next quarterly results to come in as well as yearly results.
Okay, Swati, quick view. Would you take some money off the table considering it's sitting on nearly 2 crores?
Alex, this is very good position I have seen after some long period of time. Definitely one can stay invested because the technical formation is very strong. I believe it has a potential to reach up to 22 levels on the high side. But I will suggest a profit stop loss of 14 rupees, which is acting as a very strong support levels. So as long as stock trades above 14 rupees, the trend will be continued on the higher side. So try to put the stop loss of 14 rupees as a profit stop loss and carry your long positions for immediate target will be 20. Then beyond that level, door gates open for 25 as well. So it's a positive view from my end.
And base investment about 20 lakhs, 18 lakhs, and sitting on gains of close to 2 crore. Wow.
Interesting.
Let's start. Oh, sorry. I thought you would start. It's time to start the rapid fire segment. By the way, this is where, ladies, we throw as many questions at you as possible over the course of 2 minutes. Let's jump straight into it. Advait Energy, for a period of 6 months, Shashidhar wants to know whether he should venture into this. Swati, on the charts?
I will not suggest to buy at the current market price. Let the counter settle down at the support level. So just wait for some period of time, not to buy at the current market price.
All right. Harsh is holding 1025 ITC shares bought at 338 a piece, and he wants a long-term outlook. Astha?
Long-term outlook is positive. Remain invested. The price target of 430 to 440 at the initial levels.
Okay. Axis Bank bought at 1111. Would you hold on at this juncture? Bhavesh wants to know. Swati?
Yes, definitely you can hold on this particular bank upside. 1140, 1150 levels can be seen. Downside, it has a very good support of 1050. So as long as it's hold that level, a positive momentum can be seen in the near period of time.
Okay, Somani Ceramics is the next counter. Dinesh from Gurgaon is holding 50 shares bought at 822 a piece. He wants to know whether he should sell or hold. Astha, what's the view like?
Hold is the view from my side. As I have already told, industry conditions are challenging, but in the long term, it will definitely improve.
Okay, PNB bought at 127. We've got VG wants to know whether he should hold or exit. Swati?
For the longer term duration, definitely it's all slowly and steadily. This counter will show the momentum. The initial target will be 110. Beyond that level, 130s can be seen. So the longer term duration definitely is hold from my end.
All right, Coal India is the next counter. Anand Raj from Chennai wants to know whether he should enter at the current levels. On the chart, Swati?
I will not suggest to take a fresh long positions because already we have seen a very strong momentum rally in the past 1 month. Let the stock find out a support here by 370. That will be a very attractive buying price. So if you are getting any tips toward to 370, you can add on. Immediate target will be a 420 levels.
Okay, KFin Tech, coming back to you, Swati. Buy price is 1060. Short-term target is being sought by Sunita. What's the view?
My view is definitely positive for longer term duration, but not for the short term period of time. Momentum can be seen positive only if the stock manages to view the breakout of 1050, not to generate a fresh buying long positions at the CMP, but you can hold on to your current positions. For the immediate target will be 1050. Beyond that level, 1100s can be seen.
Okay, all right. We're completely out of time. Thanks so much for joining us today, Swati, as well as Astha. Pleasure having you. That brings us to the end of this edition of Ask Profit. Pleasure having you on the program, of course. Do stay tuned. Up next is Know Your Company, and it's a good one, so stay tuned.
He sold most of his stock, 80%, as on that date.
We have requested the management to come and speak to us. They asked us, what questions will you ask? We've sent it to them. They don't want to answer it, so then let's put it to our viewers as well.
7 key questions, right? How is it that 2,000 crore goes unnoticed by all of these auditors?
Is seeking more information on the trades and the all the transaction which has happened from the exchanges, both NSE and BSE.
The Reserve Bank of India's supervisory officers, they are seeking compliance reports on their foreign currency borrowings by these banks.
The DSS is actively engaging with the Reserve Bank of India to sort of ensure the thorough examination of the matter. And
Indus Bank, as part of its internal review, had found that certain aspects of its derivatives portfolio was not meeting the standard that was set by the Reserve Bank of India.
Hello and welcome. You're watching KYC, which is Know Your Company. Now, today it's a very interesting company. In fact, in a very differentiated kind of space, we have Antony Waste Handling Cell, which is of course a listed company, and we'll try and dive deeper into what this company does. As the name suggests, it's in the solid waste management sector. Very far and few in terms of companies. One that I can think of is probably a Ganesha Ecosphere is one of those in this space, but this is more in the collection and transportation of waste, and 60% of its revenue comes from there, and that's why this one is unique in that sense. It was established in the year 2000. It's a leader in municipal solid waste management. It does mechanical sweeping of roads. If you're living in Bombay, you would have likely seen some of their equipment at play in Bombay, especially more on the southern side of Bombay. It collects and transports waste. It also has a waste to energy division, and they are also into designing, construction, operation and maintenance of integrated waste management facility. There is one that they have which is the largest waste management facility integrated in Asia, which is in Kanjurmarg in Mumbai. So that's what the company does. Now let's try and break this down a little bit better. What is the capability that the company demonstrates? First, it does door-to-door collection of waste. So a waste collection from Mumbaikars, from citizens of Mumbai. It transports it, it segregates it. It also does construction and management of landfills. So it's completely end-to-end in that sense. It does recycling as well, composting as well, and it does waste to energy. Some of the latter of those of the capabilities are valued significantly higher than the former. So while the larger capability that this company has is with regard to door-to-door collection and transportation, but once they start building the latter part of the capability, well, you might well see the possibility of a higher value ascribed to the company and a better visibility that the company will have in the eyes of the investor, because recycling is where a large part of the value addition is, and that's how investors also view some of these companies like a Ganesha Ecosphere and the like in this space. Let's look at revenue mix though. So as I did mention, 62% of the revenue comes from collection, transportation. They have 16 contracts and their average contract duration is around 8 years. So some amount of visibility with regard to revenue in that sense. Now in terms of municipal solid waste processing, they do this as well. 23% of the revenue comes from there. It used to be nearly 30%. So that's come off. It includes sorting, segregation, and the average contract duration here is nearly 23 years. And last is other contracts. This includes manual sweeping of roads, sale of goods, sale of scrap, stuff like that. And then there's a very unique design, build, own, operate and transfer projects, which is the DBOOT. They have around 2 to 3 projects that they are working on in that regard as well. So again, interesting niche that they've caught on with regard to this, but that's around 15% odd of revenue. Then they've entered the waste to energy sector with the first plant coming in Maharashtra. The generation capacity is 14 megawatts and it has a waste handling capacity of 1000 tons per day. It covers pre-processing, composting as well as power generation. The project's tenure is roughly 21 years, started in 2019 all the way to 2040. So again,